What an historic day, an historic moment. Mr. Navarro? Oh, sorry. The President Trade Advisor Peter Navarro is about to take questions. So
questions. It's a great day, not just for America, the world. It's an interesting coincidence that on the same day as you have VE Day, the 80th anniversary of victory in Europe, we have struck a deal with the same country that we were arm in arm with defeating the Nazis and walking and turning that continent into a free continent 80 years ago. From Liberation Day now to VE Day. What's important about this deal is that it offers a template for how we're going to proceed with the rest of the negotiations. The way the negotiations are structured, we have the head of that, USTR Jameson Greer, working arm in arm with the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. And they work from a number of verticals. Every country, it's like fingerprints. They're all different in the way they take advantage of America. So with each country, you have to walk through how high are their tariffs, where are their tariffs high, how can we get those down. The non-tariff barriers are much more important in terms of getting a fair deal for America than the tariffs in most cases. And this is an important thing for the American people to understand. It's like, this is not a tariff problem, it's an unfair trade problem. So there's that, there's the digital trade issue, and then there's a whole issue, all sets of issues, currency manipulation, intellectual property theft, and things like that. So with the UK, this deal is good for both countries. That's the way it's set up. There's joy in farmland today. We have it's about an $8 billion gain for the agricultural community. We've got beef. We're going to export substantially more beef. So Kansas, Nebraska, Texas are going to do very well. We've got dairy, so folks in Wisconsin and California are really happy. We've got a lot of corn that we're going to sell via ethanol to the UK, so the folks in Iowa are very happy. With respect to autos, we've given the UK a discount on the auto tariff. They send us a relatively small amount of vehicles in the broader scheme of things, but to them it's an important part of their economy, so we're reducing the 25% tariff down to 10% on the on 100,000 units that they will sell us. And we're going to have a very interesting alternative arrangement with the UK on steel and aluminum, which will help us protect us from the flood of dumping that often occurs not just directly to us, but from different countries around the rest of the world, like the UK, for example. So we're in a very good place with this. I think everybody should be happy about this. It signals that how we're going to go about these negotiations. There will be many more to come, and we hope they will come as quickly as this one. And you all just be patient with us if you can. All right, take a couple minutes.
Mr. Navarro. The digital service tax,
Yes.
has that been worked out in terms of whether the U.S.
We're still
would be paid
still in
over?
negotiations
It's still in negotiations.
with that, and that's a very big deal to President Trump. The digital tax has spread like a bad virus around the world, but it started in Europe, and it basically targets American companies. I can say it in no other way. When you look at the digital tax, on the Facebook, the Googles, and all of that, it's structured in a way where only big companies are subject to it. So the smaller ones in these other countries or exempted from it. So that's going to be a work.
Could you confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you say anything on the China talks? How low
Nope,
is
can't
the president?
say a word. Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Confident
Mr.
are you that Britons are going to want to buy American produce when there have been concerns expressed there over chlorinated chicken and the hormones in some of the beef?
Well, let's see what the market says. Our position is and always has been that behind much of these what they call phytosanitary standards for agriculture is simply a phony tool that's used to suppress what is very fine American agricultural products. So if more of that comes into the market and the British people don't want to buy it, that's one set of facts. We don't believe once they taste American beef and chicken that they would prefer not to have it.
Can you confirm?
Mr. Navarro, so the president just told us that the U.S. is working on 3 other trade deals currently. Can you give us a hint of which countries might be next? How soon
Never
are we
get
gonna-
ahead of the president, but I do know the way the process works. You ever been to a deli where you go in and you take a number and you stand in line to order? It's kind of like that. If you ever been across the street with the United States Trade Representative, Jameson Greer, that's kind of where all that magic happens. He's got hundreds of people who work there, and every single day we've got representatives from different countries coming in. I was looking at the calendar today that goes out to July in terms of the different tranches of negotiations. And I just want to assure the American people that we are moving in Trump time, which is to say as quickly as possible, with the greatest expectation that we'll get a great result for the American people. And at the end of that journey, the international trading system will be better off. It's in disequilibrium now. It's set up in a way where the World Trade Organization allows other countries to systematically charge us higher tariffs and to systematically impose higher non-tariff barriers without allowing us any dispute resolution mechanisms. That's an unsustainable equilibrium when we're running $1 trillion deficits.
Sir, about Mexico, despite of the tariffs, the Department of Commerce reports that the imports from Mexico increased over 9% in the first quarter of the year. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not going to speak to individual countries because that's a job of Jameson Greer and Howard Lutnick. I can say that Mexico is one of our great allies and trading partners, and we're giving it a tremendous amount of attention.
Mr.
You're describing this deal as a free trade deal, and yet there are still 10% tariffs.
I didn't say
the president
a free.
has. Yeah.
It's what
Yeah,
it is it's a realignment away from a system where the American people and American producers are being exploited by the system itself. So if you simply look at the deal itself, to just take it at face value, what are we doing? We're reducing trade barriers to agriculture, the non-tariff barriers. They're mostly non-tariff barriers that are being lowered, and we're with respect to some of the great things that the UK is going to benefit from. We're acknowledging that they're our ally and that we want them to prosper as well, but under conditions which don't allow dumping into our market.
So will that
Mr.
Do you have a response to the EU's blueprint that they released earlier today about the retaliatory tariffs that they would slap on the US?
Look, let me just say that any country which retaliates against the United States, which is simply trying to get fairness, is making a grave mistake, and it's not a road I think that we want to go down. And we've opened negotiations with the EU. We're more than welcome to have those negotiations, but for them to publish stuff like that, I don't think it's in the interests or the spirit of negotiations that really are going to be as effective as they otherwise could. So I would just caution that retaliation is not a as they say in game theory, it's not the dominant strategy. The dominant strategy for Europe and others to recognize is that the United States will not tolerate unfairness to its people and producers. that the system, I mean, nobody, I don't think anybody standing before me disagrees with the statement that the world charges us higher tariffs and has higher non-tariff barriers. And if that is true, then how could you criticize the United States for simply trying to make that right? All right.
Mr. Navarro.
What's your reaction to Presidents Putin and Xi suggesting that China and Russia might sort of boost their trading relations?
I'm not going there. We have other people involved in that. So.
Mr. Navarro.
Can we see the next trade deal next week?
Everybody wants to know when. Do me a favor. It's like, look at this day. Stop and smell the roses here. Focus on today's deal. The importance of you as journalists focusing on today's deal is to not only report what today's deal does, but also what it signals in terms of being a template for the rest of the negotiations. And to repeat, we know how the world cheats us across 4 or 5 different verticals. We go systematically with each country to get redress on that, and there it goes. Okay, take one more.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Speaking of smelling the roses, do you feel vindicated? You've been working on this deal since the first administration, so do you feel vindicated?
No, I don't. That's not my place here. I'm simply the president's. One of his many lieutenants is just trying to fulfill the Trump vision, which is fairness for the American people. All right, thank you very much.
I'm back. As you guys just saw that the President Trade Advisor Peter Navarro just spoke to the press and explained further what this US-UK trade deal, bilateral trade deal, that has been in work for over 25 years, what it means for the ongoing other trade deal, which this will serve as a template. This is a major historic milestone for the Trump administration as well as for the US. We have 3 major events. Yes, that today the US is celebrating for the first time, commemorating the Victory Day, which usually is commemorated across Europe, the hand that marks the hand of the surrender of the Nazi army, the German army during the World War II. Today also, as I said earlier on today, President Donald Trump was joined in the Oval Office by the UK representative and the Secretary of Commerce and the USTR administrator to unveil the deal, that the bilateral trade deal that was signed between the US and UK, which again will serve as a template for other trade deals. This is the first trade deal, the first post-tariff trade deal that have been signed. And if you guys will remember that the UK Prime Minister was actually one of the among the first foreign visitors that visited the White House to have conversation with the president. And that deal, they talk about expanding on working on the trade deal. This was a deal that was worked on with the previous administration, as the president said, as also as far back as during the Brexit period, but they couldn't reach an agreement. But under this administration, under the guidance, the leadership of President Trump, that deal was secure, and it will provide significant trade relief to the UK, as well as increase exports from the US as much as $55 billion export to the UK. So this marks a significant moment for the administration. Another significant thing that just happened. You guys saw that the president came out to the West Wing over here to speak to reporters, and he used the opportunity to congratulate the new Pope, Pope Leo, who was just elected today. He is the first American to be elevated to that role. So the Pope, the Cardinal Bishop Robert Prevost, who was elevated to a position of candidacy in 2023 by the previous Pope, the late Pope Francis. The Pope is from Chicago, but he became a priest in Rome in the early 80s, and he also spent time and served in Peru before coming back to the U.S. to spend some time in the U.S. and then returning back to Rome. So the Catholics as well as the rest of the world in the U.S. are very excited about this new Pope. And the President Donald Trump said during his appearance on the West Wing, unexpectedly, came out to the West Wing to speak to a reporter, and he said this marked a significant moment, as well as it's an honor to have the Pope. But the president said he was watching online, and he said like it was also excited just like everyone else. We know that the president and the first lady Melania Trump were both in attendance last month during the funeral memorial service for Pope Francis. They were at the Vatican as well as with other U.S. leader and dignitary. So, and before that, one of the last leaders to meet with the Pope was the Vice President J.D. Vance when he traveled to the Vatican to Rome, as well as the Vatican to meet with the Pope. So again, today marks a significant moment, and this is the report, the address, the speech, the Q&A with President Donald Trump's senior advisor Peter Navarro, as well as the remarks from the president earlier today.